Our next guest is a television host and New York Times bestselling author. His latest book, I Am Ruth Bader Ginsburg, which is part of the highly popular children's series Ordinary People Change the World, is available now. Please welcome back to the show our good friend Brad Meltzer, everybody. It's great to see you again.
It is good to be back.
The last time I saw you was actually on your home turf. I did a show this summer in Florida. You were kind enough, you and your wife came, but not everyone in your family was enthusiastic about my appearance.
I am so glad you brought this up because you come to my hometown.
Yeah.
You do your amazing comedy show. You invite me and say, come backstage. And I say to my daughter, would you like to go see Seth Meyers? He's coming right to town 10 minutes from us. And she says, oh, you actually have the text.
Not really. It's okay.
And now, this is my daughter, Lila, by the way. She is 18 years old.
Yeah.
This is not like a 5-year-old. This
No.
is an 18-year-old. She says, and I say, what if you can meet him? And she says, but still, it's okay. Which is, I actually speak teenager, and but still it's okay is screw you, old man.
Yeah.
That is how...
Had the nerve to show her face, was in the dressing room backstage today.
The thing that's great, she came here tonight, but the reason she came, you're leaving out the best part of the story. The best part of the story is that, well, I tell you this, and you're like, what is she doing? And you came to my house.
Yeah.
We had planned breakfast together.
Yep.
And you came to my house to confront my 18-year-old daughter.
There I
and
am. I tracked her down into the kitchen.
That is in my, I love this photo. This is in my kitchen, and you are like, Lila, where were you last night? What is so important? And she says to you, yeah, I was so busy. And she is, how cool, like, I would have been like, I would have made an excuse, I would have lied, and she's just like, no, I wasn't coming.
Also, who is she saying it's okay to?
I don't
Me?
know, right?
That's like when in a movie where someone's like choking someone out and they're like, it's okay, don't fight it.
Right. Which, by the way, you've just described parenting.
Yeah, there you go.
Don't fight it.
Hey, congratulations on this book. This is a series of books. Wonderful. I read them to my kids all the time. You've written about 30 different people. These are all famous people we know. But the one connective tissue for everybody, they were regular people who grew up in normal circumstances, and they all just set out to help people. Is that a fair description of the series?
Yeah, and they follow their passions, right? And so for Muhammad Ali, it's boxing. For Jim Henson, it's Muppets. You know, for Ruth Bader Ginsburg, it's the law. But it's that ordinary person in all of us that up to me, changes the world. And
you actually met Ruth Bader Ginsburg when she was still alive, and you invited her to join you at one of your book release parties?
Yeah, so, well, this is the first hero we've ever done where I knew them before we wrote the book. And my first novel was coming out. Her daughter was one of my teachers in law school. So I'm like, I'm going to invite, the first book I ever wrote was called The 10th Justice. There are 9 justices on the court. I'm like, and the 10th justice are the clerks. I'm going to invite all the justices to my book party. Because I know Supreme Court justices love to party.
Yeah, of course.
Right? So
historically, yeah.
I mean, that's fact. And so I invite them all, and I don't know what's going to happen, but my phone rings, and it's the day before the book party, and it's the early days of cell phones, and I see on my phone Supreme Court, and I'm like, uh-oh. And so I pick up the phone, and I hear this little old lady voice, and she's like, hi, Brad. It's Justice Ginsburg. I'm just calling about your party. And I'm like, okay, hi, Justice Ginsburg. She's like, I can't come to your party. I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, it's okay. And I tell her, and I'm very nice to her, and I'm like, you know, it's okay, don't be silly, it's okay. And then I hung up the phone, and I was like, I turned to my wife, and I said, well, now who's gonna DJ?
Yeah.
And so...
You probably managed,
Yes, I was, let's just say, Scalia would have really made it
Chris Eliopoulos is the fantastic artist of these books. It's an incredible combination of the two of you working together. How did this idea first get birthed, and did you always know that you would do it with Chris?
Yeah, I mean, Chris is the superstar, right? I mean, you know how many books have been written about Amelia Earhart or Abraham Lincoln or Ruth Bader Ginsburg? Chris is the secret sauce, and his art style, you know, if you want kids to love it, I want my kids off their screens, off their phones. You got to give them something better to look at. And Chris's art is breathtaking. We learned early on with his art that kids gravitate to these heroes when they're kids. So we think of Ruth Bader Ginsburg as a serious Supreme Court justice, but when she's a little kid, instead of having a birthday party, her mother would cancel her birthday parties, take her to the local Jewish orphanage, and instead give away ice cream to the local orphans. Do you know what would happen in my house if I canceled my daughter's birthday party?
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't want to come to your party,
No, yeah.
right? I mean, but what I love in that moment is you see her as a little girl. And as a little girl, she learns how to make change. You make change by doing it yourself. And that's not that she learns in law school. She learns that from her mother. And I love the fact that Ruth Bader Ginsburg uses her life to make change through the law and put good into the world through the law. And that's all we're doing with these books. Chris and I are trying to put good into the world.
My kids like it because they know that I know you, and you put a Brad drawing, or I said Chris draws you in every book, and my kids really like to look for you.
I am like the bald Where's Waldo.
You are the ball scorer. We needed one. We needed a
Who
ball.
doesn't? I know.
Yeah. One last thing I want to ask you about. You have a new comic project. Tell us about what makes this so unique.
Yeah, so Ghost Machine is coming
Machine, I
out.
have everyone here.
Comes out tomorrow. So Jeff Johns, dear friend of mine, and some of the best other writers and artists in comics have been putting together this brand new comic. Ever since Superman was sold for $130, creators have been like, I should own my stuff. So Ghost Machine starts tomorrow. It's brand new characters by creators who you love, and you're going to love creators who you know and characters you're going to love. But it comes out tomorrow, and you're going to get, it's a sampling of all the new stories, and you get to see them all.
All right, looking forward to that. You guys, that's Brad Meltzer. I am Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Is on sale now. We'll be right back with more later.